Welcome back to Stranded in Pittsburgh, an unplanned month-long hiatus. But you know what? We deserve a summer break too. You know, we're all out of college now. We don't get summer break anymore. So if we want to take a break from this podcast and work on our tans, then that's just what we're going to do. It's Nick.
I did get burned in the meantime. So that did happen.
I only burn. If you saw my complexion right now, you'd understand that I only burn. There's no tan here. But anyway, it's Nick, it's Jack, and it's Ethan. And we're back again, and we should be back every week now until I go on my honeymoon, because I'm getting married in less than a month as of yesterday. That's so exciting, not only because I will be marrying my best friend, but because me, Jack, and Ethan will be in the same room for the first time since 2021.
Live podcast at the wedding.
Let's go. Live setup.
Excuse myself for explosive diarrhea, air quotes, but secretly we'll be in a utility closet giving our thoughts on the state of Pittsburgh sports. I won't say the date. I almost said the date of my wedding, but I don't know if anyone's going to...
No, go ahead. Give the date and location.
Yeah, the date. I'll give the latitude and longitude of my wedding, and you'll want to be there. But if you aren't able to be there, you weren't able to be at Novus, live from Brennan Plaza in Whitehall. I almost said Butler. That's where I am. Whitehall. Some have compared it to the Chili Peppers at the Slane Castle. Others have compared it to Queen at Live Aid. A phenomenal show.
I heard it brought back memories of the early days of CBGB when there was dog shit on the floor.
Wow. What a comment to have. That's what every band aspires to receive, praise such as that. Anyway, Pirates draft. As a big talking point as we kind of accept that this season just started off on an unbelievable high and will now just continue to trend downwards. But you know what? We have prospects we can get excited about. And now we have a new one. Some have called Mr. Skenes the best pitching prospect since Steven Strasburg or Pittsburgh's formerly owned Garrett Cole. Ethan, this was a big talking point. As I said, him, Dylan Cruz, someone else, does Scott Boras suck? So many things thrown around in the weeks leading up to the draft. But the Pirates got their guy. And there's some crazy people out there who think he'll even debut this year. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, pump the brakes on him debuting this year. I do not think that's going to happen. Especially,
some people said if they're still in contention come September, which might be the funniest thing I've ever heard, in addition to calling up your number one prospect like 3 months after you draft him.
Even if they're in contention, there's no way he's getting the call this year. I just don't see it, especially after the season that he's had. He hasn't pitched since the College World Series run, so he'll have to ramp back up again after he gets signed, get all of the business side of things over with. But just overall, just thank God it's all over. There was so much talk in the weeks leading up to the draft. Will they go Cruz? Will they go Skenes? Will they draft Max Clark, the kid out of Indiana, out of high school? There was talks about that as well, which nobody wanted. I didn't want it. But the Pirates, they got their guy. Regardless of what happened the rest of the draft, where they picked pretty much all pitchers, I think, except for 2 position players, all pitchers. But the Pirates got their guy in Skenes. And if you're the Pirates, you can't be more happier than who you get out of Paul Skenes. I mean, just seeing what he did with LSU this year, putting up gaudy numbers for the Tigers, was named the most outstanding player in the College World Series. You get a guy that is pretty much already major league ready, and you will see him in a Pirate uniform at least by early 2024. I can't be more happier to see Skenes drafted by Pittsburgh. And it's just, finally they were able to get their ace. And really, this was going to be their only time where they were going to get a quote-unquote solidified ace in their system and in their rotation, because there was just no shot that they were going to sign someone out of free agency that had the numbers that Skenes put up in college, or just they were going to be able to get a top of the rotation guy in free agency. So they did the right thing, drafting Skenes. Now they get their guy, they get their pitcher, which was an area that they struggled in, and they didn't really have a lot of depth and the pitching outside of Solomento and Priester and Jared Jones. So they get some more depth in the pitching in the system right now. But, you can't be more happier for the Pirates right now getting their guy and just hoping everything pans out for them leading forward. Obviously, there's a lot of, questions about will he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? There's a lot of, ebbs and flows in terms of pitching prospects. So as of now, the Pirates got their guy, and it's looking bright in terms of what they have now in the system in terms of pitching.
Ethan, I agreed with a lot of what you said there, but I do disagree with the point of the free agents that could potentially come in over the next couple of years. We have to consider that David Bednar gifted Clayton Kershaw IC Light for replacing him in the All-Star game. And you have to consider the fact that Ohtani would love having French fries on every sandwich he eats for the rest of the foreseeable future. So I don't think we should jump the gun on, ruling out the fact that there might be some high caliber pitching coming in to the North Shore here in the not so distant future.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's most famous honeypot of this year.
Ohtani would have loved the
Western pitching.
Would have loved the O. But no, I mean, Paul Skenes, watching that LSU team was so much fun. I watched a lot more college baseball this year than I have in years past. And between him and Cruz and some other great players, the energy that he brings, and again, some of that is because of the energy just surrounding that team. They traveled really well in the College World Series. The final against Florida almost looked like a true home game for them. There's so much purple and gold or yellow. I don't know what they quantify it as there in the crowd. But he seems to have great energy. Not only does he throw hard, but it moves. You watch him throw some of these 100-mile-an-hour plus pitches, and they're not just a straight shot. There's movement to him. Guys are swinging and missing at him from, the movement and speed, not just the fact that, hey, maybe if I choke up and close my eyes and pray, I'm going to rocket this one into the gap. That thing is moving when he throws it. And I love this guy already. I think he's going to be a stud. And I like to say cautiously that not even subpar Pittsburgh pitching coaching on any level that he goes through can, screw up his development. I just think he has that it factor, and I'm excited to see what he can do here in some black and gold. For real this time, gold, not questioning if it's yellow like for LSU.
Yeah, just don't tell him to pitch for contact, hopefully. Another indicator, though, that LSU team was special was I'm pretty sure they won the final Jello shot totals at Omaha. So
they did.
And it wasn't close either. So pretty decent indicator of how that championship game went.
They go hard down there in the Bayou.
Yeah, they love God's gift to the world being Jello. It's so easy to make, folks.
I toured a Jello museum one time. It was very fun. Couldn't tell you where we were, but we just saw that the International Jello Museum was near us, and we went on a tour. Some really old lady gave us the tour, said her whole spiel word for word to each group that came in, because we stood in the gift shop when it was over, and we heard her tell this next group the same exact stuff. No one cared. Just thought that was a fun little tidbit. If you need any Jello knowledge, you can consult me, shreddedsports@gmail.com.
The only thing I have to add is the one thing I've been thinking about since he got drafted is what words and syllables will Greg Brown twist and distort to give you one of the corniest, cheesiest calls of all time when he gets his first MLB strikeout. Because he's been thinking about that.
This coinciding with the All-Star break is perfect because he has time to just sit in the den of his home in Swickley or wherever Greg Brown lives and just candle lit, only light in the room, sit down with a notebook and just
feather and quill.
Get a thesaurus out. Dip the feather in the ink and just start going to town. I'm going to put early money on bend the knee for Mr. Skenes. He tries to pronounce it in a way where it all blends together. I'm taking the early favorite on that. Bend the knee for Mr. Skenes, and we'll see how that goes.
If that turns into some weird, distorted Game of Thrones pun that's recurring, I won't be happy about that.
I mean, we're talking about the man who coined Zip Zap Kazoo, the Bucko's turn too. And it
Yeah,
sounds
but
like
that's
we're
slaps.
dunking
That's
on Greg
different.
Brown.
Yeah.
That one cooks.
I would never dunk on Greg Brown. He's a former guest to this show. I met him for part of my Make-A-Wish, which I'll talk about in a little bit here. Great guy. And if you had to talk about the Pirates and, do live commentary for every game this team has had for 20 years or ever he's been doing it, you'd be at your wit's end too. So I will never partake in Greg Brown slander unless he truly does something to deserve it, which I don't see him doing. So
No, I like Greg Brown. I'm not bragging on him. I just
Yeah.
think he's a whimsical personality. He should have played Willy Wonka, not Timothy Chalamet.
wow,
Oh,
what a
my
thought!
God. Oh,
You
my
might be the
God.
only person to ever say that. That's so cool.
I just watched a trailer. He's not whimsical. Greg Brown could nail it though.
So with
Can't
the
make Paul
All-Star,
Atreides a silly guy.
with the All-Star break being in full swing right now, we got to think, what does success look like for the rest of this Pirates season? It's the second half of the year. It's a new season in a way. Ethan, what do you quantify as a successful second half of this campaign?
I think continuing to get that youth movement into the MLB roster, I think that's one of the keys. You got guys like Henry Davis, Nick Gonzalez, Jared Triolo. Those guys, they're up. They're producing, for the most part, pretty well so far. So I think continuing to get that youth movement, there's been reports that Quinn Priester might be coming up early on to start the second half. I think he makes the start in Indy on Friday. And then there's something open on I think there's a opening on Tuesday where he might get called, where there might be a call up here or there. So I think continue to get the youth into the lineup. I think that's going to be crucial, especially for the development for this team moving forward. But I also think getting guys healthy again, some guys in the bullpen like Will Crow, he should be returning soon from a long stint on the IL. So I think getting everyone healthy, getting Ke'Bryan Hayes healthy, getting Andrew McCutchen also healthy, getting those guys healthy, some of the veteran guys and some of the guys that have been around for a little while longer, getting those guys healthy, getting the bullpen back to where it was from a health standpoint, where it was earlier on in the season. I think that's going to be crucial in the team's success moving forward. And I think just overall, just consistency from a pitching and hitting standpoint, both have struggled mightily. One on one day, another on the other. There's just no consistency there. One day the offense is up, but the starters in the bullpen throw everything away. So there's just no consistency there. So I think they just need to find a little bit more consistency there. I'm not saying that they're going to go. They still have a chance to put together another nice stretch. I'm not saying they're going to go on another 20-8 stretch like they did in April, but they do have another chance. There's still a lot of season left where they can make another push, not in terms of going for the division, but I think they do have another chance of making another push in terms of stringing together some more wins before this season is over, and build a little bit more confidence as a team moving forward and going into the offseason.
And I think you made a lot of great points there. Stole some of my things right out of my notebook, which I think is a little inconsiderate, but I'll overlook it. We've talked about it time and time again. If you're on Pirates Twitter, people have talked about it. Other Pirates podcasts, everyone's talked about it. If they were at where they're at now record-wise, if you told someone they'd be at where they're at now record-wise, before the beginning of the season, you'd be pretty happy with that. But because of how the season started, it's kind of been a frustrating little decline in play. But I think we have kind of lost sight of what this year was supposed to be. And this year, heading into it, was supposed to be get the big prospects up, let them start developing, let them grow, work out some kinks, and then really, hit the ground running next year. And I think that's why it's important, in my opinion, get Endy up there relatively soon, let him start getting some cuts major league level, and then get Quinn Priester up here. They get those two guys up here. That's really my only musts for the rest of the season. Get O'Neill healthy and the other players you mentioned, get them all healthy, and just start to see these guys develop, work out kinks. Even Cruz last year had a really bad stretch where he looked absolutely lost, but then rectified it and finished off the year relatively strong. Get guys up here, let them go through those cold spells, maybe where they're having some growing pains, and work themselves out of it. That way next year, right from the get-go, we can really see these guys get comfortable in their own skin, in their roles on this roster. I silenced them. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. We love Zoom. We love Zoom. But yeah, Jack, do you have any thoughts before we let you talk for 15 minutes unfiltered on the state of the Penguins and their recent
I don't
roster?
even have 15 minutes. There's nothing but Penguins content, so that might throw a little bit of Dune news into that as well. No, I don't have anything to add to the Pirates. If we just want to move on to the draft that I didn't watch.
Thank you. Anyway,
Just
I mentioned
name
it
the
earlier.
names and talk about which ones are the most fun to pronounce.
I
really only know Brady Yeager, but there's like, as far as the names go, we got some good ones. 2 Emils, that's crazy.
Before we do fully jump into the Penguins, God, I hate Zoom. We should put that on a t-shirt. My make-wish with the Pirates was 10 years ago. Met Andrew McCutcheon, met Steve Blass, met Greg Brown, met Neil Walker, met Pedro Alvarez, who had the coolest customized chrome beats I've ever seen in my life. Drip wasn't a slang term then, but Pedro Alvarez in the clubhouse, when I met him, had the most drip of anyone I've ever seen in my life. And you're going to have to take my word for that. It was a great day. It's hard to believe it was 10 years ago, but truly a memorable experience. No one from the Pirates will listen to this, but for as much as they may irritate you with the on-field product and behind the scenes, they know how to treat people in situations like that. And here, 10 years later, it's still a experience I look back on and reflect on fondly. Now, Jack O'Brien, tell us about the Penguins, and I dare you to follow that up with one of your jokes. I dare you.
How much of Pedro Alvarez's person had El Toro on it? Did he have it embroidered?
I don't think so. He had a chain on, but I don't think it said El Toro on it.
Damn, I would have thought that he would have. I thought he would have taken that and run with it. All right. So not a lot has happened really. The Penguins just been signing a lot of bottom 6 forwards, shoring up the bottom 6, which I like, which is nice. It was one of the biggest problems last year. Dubes has done a decent job on that. Elephant in the room right now is will or will they not trade for Erik Karlsson? And this is, now I personally, I can talk about how his even strength statistics are more important than the fact that he was minus 26, which is the worst plus minus for any defenseman. A majority of his minuses came as the behest of shorthanded goals and empty net goals. He also, the Sharks were a combined minus 56 without Karlsson on the ice. He brought that back to even whenever he was on the ice. It's really more of his production and how much chances, how much defense he creates at even strength play, which is what the Penguins are going to get him for, if they want him, if they can pay for him, because it's a big contract. You're going to need another team to take on some salary. It has to be a 3-team deal. I don't see the Penguins working this out through one avenue with 2 teams. The return has to be pretty significant. I love people who are like some named Bandrew Bipalbombly or something that rhymes with that. I don't know, something around that. Some dumbass who said that let's just send Jeff Petrie, Mikhail Granlund, a first-round pick, and another prospect for Erik Karlsson. That's the trade I would make. I was like, yeah, if you turned all the difficulty sliders down on NHL 12, that still wouldn't work. When you could literally fleece the computer. That was one of my favorite NHLs. Nothing beats 14, though. So, I don't know if they're going to get it done. I'd like them to get it done solely because it was something I used to do on created rosters when I was a kid. But it's going to be complicated. It's going to take a while. It's either us or Carolina right now. Carolina, I feel like, is willing to push a little harder because they know that they have a championship window like at their feet. But the Penguins need to win now, though. So you have 2 desperate teams who are trying to win, trying to get in on. I don't care that he's old. He just won the Norris. He's still got a lot left in the tank. Defensemen can play longer. And also, like, a power play run by Letang is good. Having your second unit run by Karlsson or even flip-flopping those 2, that's a pipe dream. And it's something that this team desperately needs because the power play was kind of lackluster, to say the least, towards the end of the season when they kind of needed to score on special teams.
It's funny
The other thing.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just saying it's funny you brought up NHL 14 because I went to my parents' house a couple weeks ago and brought it back to my current place and
So
started
good.
to live the life and immediately pissed off my family by promising them tickets to a game, and then it turned out I could not get tickets because of my low status on the team,
Yep.
and they were not very happy about that. But I love that little element of sports games before it became 30-minute cutscenes.
With you and meeting like some random celebrity like Johnny Depp. It's like
Yeah,
love your compete level out there, bro. But the other thing Dubas
there's
did
Boss
was
Kiyot in that one NBA 2K too. Your buddy that died in like the car crash, who was a rapper. That was awful. That was a tough time.
oh my god.
That was a tough time.
Oh,
Boss
my.
Kiyot.
Okay. So the second thing that Dubas did, the second big thing was we had a draft in Nashville this year, and the Penguins actually had a first round pick, believe it or not, because Jim Rutherford wasn't a fan of keeping those around. Now, when they took Braden Yeager with the first pick, his name was on the back of the jersey, so this was the guy they had at the top of their board. He was the best available forward at that spot. Not going to see him for at least 2 to 3 years, but it's something that shores up like they are paying attention to the future because Dubas plans on staying here long term. He wants to oversee the transition of the old guard to the new guard, and again minimizing that time in between. So now we get into the picks that I don't know who any of these people are. So we're going to rank them by how much fun their names are to say. And at the top of the list, it's funny because he was the next pick, but Emil Pieniniemi. It's so much fun. And that's going to be insane because I know Steve Mears is going to have a rough time calling that if he ever has to do it. But that'll be sick. I can't wait for that. Emil Pieniniemi. The next one is Cali Kangas. Kangas Bangus is what I call him. That's going to be a good one. Cooper Foster is easily the lowest on this list. Get some more flavor in your name, kid. Have a more interesting family heritage. Why
That
won't you?
sounds
Cooper Foster sounds like a baseball name. Get that out of here.
it
I don't
sounds
need
like the
that.
guy in the frat house who knows where you can get some
See, the viewers at home don't know what you did. Nick was talking about diet soda.
yes.
Yes.
You always need a hookup like that at the frat house.
Yep. Then Emil Yarventi or Yarventai. You know that J isn't pronounced because it's an A with 2 little dots. So that's a fun one. A lot of fins. And finally, Mikhail Ilian, which it's all right. It's fine. I like the Amils better. And I
Nothing
like
to write home about.
Cali Kangas Bangus, baby. That's going to slap if he ever plays an NHL game. But that's all I really have on the draft. Like I said, free agency happened. It was all right. But, that wasn't a really interesting free agency class. Jason Zucker did go to Arizona for exactly the same amount of money that he would have signed for here. And it was only a 1-year deal. But he lives in Arizona. So that entirely, just sidesteps the fact that the city of Tempe voted them out of the state. They don't want the team. Why would you go? You barely have an arena. They shut down the development of the new facility and the new commerce district that they were building near it. The city council of Tempe said, you know what? I don't care about hockey. And Jason Zucker said, I like the desert. So it's fine. He's going home. I still have a lot of no hard feelings for that. It's just this is how free agency boils down sometimes. And maybe it was a comfortability thing, and he realized the Penguins weren't really going to pay him a whole lot more. So took the same deal for some place that isn't as cold. And I get that. But you did live in Minnesota for a long time, Jason. So I don't think it was. That's all I've got on the hockey side of things. The second Dune 2 trailer is like one of the best things I've ever seen.
Oh no. I thought he forgot he wanted
So
to bring this
good.
up already.
It's so good, dude.
Oh,
my
no.
God. Go watch Dude, man. It's gonna be sick.
Uh,
Go watch
well,
like a 20-minute YouTube video explaining the lore because I'm not doing that.
okay. We'll keep that in mind. Doom 2, everybody.
You see, the Space Navigating Guild
Uh-oh.
needs the spice to transcend space and time because it gives them vision to navigate safely. And if they don't have that, all of the, all of the mass global commerce of the Imperium would fall down if they didn't have someone to mine the spice from Arrakis. But the people were okay. I'm done.
You know, if we're gonna talk about shows, I've started watching Suits
Started
because
watching Sopranos.
I saw the TikTok of one of the opening scenes of Suits where he walks in there and they tell him they only hire from Harvard. Then he starts quoting the one of the law books. I don't know. Jack's a lawyer.
Yeah, I can do that too. Not that
He
hard.
starts just quoting it off memory. I saw that clip on TikTok more than I saw some of my own family, so I said I might as well just, actually watch this show. And I'm almost on season 3. Great show. Speaking of new seasons, Steelers right around the corner, whether you like it or not. Don't need to spend too much time on this one, but
I'm so excited.
Kareem Hunt, a name that's been thrown around to supplement the running back core. And I ask one question. What the hell did Jaylen Warren ever do to anybody? All I've seen from him over the offseason is nothing but disrespect. But all I saw from him when he got opportunities last year was him making the most of them and showing that he's a very explosive back and perfectly complements Najee Harris. So I'm just confused what this random rumblings I'm hearing once in a while are about rumors of the Steelers trying to add another running back piece.
Misdirection, I hope. I don't know. I think this is dumb. I think it's a stupid move. You have guys that you like. You have guys that work in the system. People start talking. I mean, people legitimately towards the end of the season last year were thinking, what if Jaylen Warren took Najee Harris's spot as the top guy? So, you're going to have them compete or be a 1-2 punch as is. So what do you need Kareem Hunt for other than depth? I like that would be the only thing. But, I mean, if Najee's fully healthy this year, I don't see you needing him. But then again, running backs are like fine china that is in your grandparents' living room that's in one of those big cabinets, and you pick that day to kind of gamble on what if I could catch the Nerf football with one hand instead? And it kind of tipped off your fingers, may or may not have gone off the chandelier, and then kind of hit it, and then it fell in the cabinet. So you didn't hear anything break. So you're like, that's probably fine. But then a week later, when they opened the cabinet, they realized that 3 of the glasses broke. And now your running back has to have a steel plate put in his foot.
Yeah.
I got dark.
Yeah, it did. Really dark, really fast.
But did everyone's grandparents have a forbidden room?
No.
Wow, never mind then. I won't go down that rabbit hole. Go ahead, Ethan.
Closet, yes, but not a room.
Go ahead, Ethan.
Yeah,
I'm not
going to
No, don't need to go on that train.
This is sick football talk.
Nick. Oh my god. Yeah, I just think it's stupid to even think that this is going to come to fruition or even happen. The Steelers have their core. I don't see any use for them to go after Hunt. I mean, he played all 17 games last year, but really didn't have any eye-popping numbers to where you're like, oh yeah, this is going to add some significant depth other than you're just adding another guy. Right. That too. And yeah, I mean, Jaylen Warren did really, really well, especially from a pass catching standpoint. And I think with, the Steelers bolstered offensive line this year and Najee Harris, becoming healthy and being healthy, I think they're going to have a nice 1-2 punch to begin with. And just adding another, running back to that room, I just don't see it being necessary. And I think this is just all random talk just leading up to training camp because there's nothing else better to talk about.
They're bored.
In the NFL at this point, yeah, they're bored right before all the fun starts in about 2 weeks. So I don't see it. I don't see anything with the Steelers and that happening. I don't see a partnership between those two ever coming to fruition. So the Steelers have their tandem already, and I think it's going to look pretty well come the regular season.
Well, you guys know what time it is. It's Rod Barajas of the Week time.
It's time.
Rod Barajas of the Week. We went through all 3 of the major teams. Ethan got 2. Jack got 0.
That's so close.
Still time for Jack to mount a comeback in the game that may never end once we hit a certain score. We might just keep going until one of us, our hearts no longer go, maybe.
I didn't know we had a mercy roll.
We don't. That's what I just said. It might just keep going forever. Rubber House of the Week. Going to be with the Pirates this time. Restarting from the beginning.
Up my alley.
Level. Easy. Come
Doesn't
on
play
now.
me.
This
is gonna be
man
the
was
one
a
that I miss.
Pirate. Was a Pirate from 2012 to 2014. He was a first baseman. He was a one-time All-Star. Whether or not it was with the Pirates, I'm not going to tell you that. And in his career, he only played for one other team who was also in the NL. You need any of that repeated? You
I think
should have
I
listened to
know.
this the
I
first
think I
time.
actually know this one.
Jack thinks he knows it.
If it's not this one, I have a second one, but I think I know this one.
Ethan, do you have your answer written down? We'll wait for Jack to go first.
I do. I do, but I'm not sure I'm going to get this one right. I don't think this is going to be right. I have a bad. I know I already got it wrong. So Jack, go ahead.
Jack O'Brien to end the streak.
Named after a university near here, Adam LaRoche.
No.
Oh no.
No, Jack.
Oh,
That's not even
no.
close.
Oh,
he was
no.
here like what? 2009.
Oh God, Ethan.
I
I almost hope you're wrong.
Same paper. Gabby Sanchez. I know that's wrong because I think he came in 13.
No, you're right. You're
I
right.
am. There we go.
You're up 3-0.
Let's go.
Gabby Sanchez.
I thought that was so wrong. I thought he was a year later in 13, but I guess
not
not.
according to Baseball Reference, unless I'm illiterate.
Do you know what my second answer was?
Oh, good Lord.
Do we want to know?
Inside the park home run hitter Garrett Jones. That his first name.
Yeah, you got it right. But
oh well, that's
Did he hit it inside? It could have been that, or he hit a home run at a game. I don't know.
that.
I'm going to the game Friday.
Wow, that's Jack will be signing autographs in right field Friday night at the Pirates game. If
I'll be at the establishment in center field, hoping to catch
the establishment. Free shirt Friday. If you don't want your shirt, give it to me because I don't think I'm going to that game anymore, unfortunately, unless it's a very last minute call. So
I'm gonna turn the free shirt into a wrap on my head.
Don't pass it off as a wedding gift either, because I know you.
It's a nice T-shirt though.
It is.
They've done a good job so far.
I just like to think I'm more Florida Jack than a free T-shirt.
I was gonna look at the registry and give you.
Only cash from you two. Only cash because I know what I paid. Anyway, we'll see you next time.
Buying you a refrigerator.
Pittsburgh.
Like one that doesn't work. The one that Indiana Jones got and survived that nuke. That's the one I'm getting.
Wow.
The lead-lined ones, baby. Cold War era refrigeration.
That's cruel. That's very cool.
Cold as the Cold War.
Well,
I hate myself.
If that would really make you happy, if that would help you drive home and think, you know what, I did a really good job, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Wow, what's going to happen when we're in a room? You won't find out because most of you probably aren't invited, but we'll know and we'll tell you all about it. And we'll see you again.
Tell you about it on the live pod that we record during the dinner.
God, Ethan, this steak really sucks. Leave it to Nick and Kayla to cheap out. All right. Stranded in Pittsburgh. We'll see you next time.